What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So it appears we have some breaking news surrounding the Star Wars video games universe. Now, this is something that is pertaining to a specific studio and a specific game that is not Star Wars Jedi Survivor with Respawn. I just have the footage on here so that, basically we have something to talk over. But this is not the game that's having any issues. Now, just recently, it appears that there was a report that was actually put out by Jason Schreier out of Bloomberg. Some of you know he was a writer at Kotaku. And this report is actually claiming that this project that was actually being done, which was the anticipated, which is not just an anticipated game, the hotly anticipated new Star Wars game is in trouble. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is delayed indefinitely as developers at Aspyr Media try to figure out what comes next. Now, if you try to click on the article, I think there's a Bloomberg subscription that's required, and no. So PC Games is reporting on the report, which I would then report upon, so you guys can pretty much see some of the details surrounding all of this stuff. Now, one really interesting thing that I really have to go ahead and, put in perspective here is there's not only been a delay, but it appears the creative director and the art director were also fired in regard to this particular project. So here is something that I feel is necessary that we take a look at. So this says, Bloomberg sources said Aspyr management held a number of meetings throughout July before arriving at a decision to air quotes, pause development and decide on KOTOR Remake's future direction. And it says Aspyr also fired creative director Brad Prince and art director Jason Miner early in July, another move which Schreier sources said they didn't expect. Now, the catalyst for this, according to this report here, guys, so this is a very important thing to see. The catalyst for this reportedly drastic change in direction was apparently a demo the team presented to Sony and Lucasfilm on June 30th. And it says Bloomberg says the developers who worked on the demo were satisfied with the game's progress at that point, but Aspyr thought otherwise. Schreier said the clash in vision stems in part from the project's outset, when Aspyr's leads thought the game could release in 2022, but the development team said now it will be more realistic to release it in 2025. So here is game development stuff, folks, and apparently there's even more grim news in this particular report. And it says Beamdog, the studio Aspyr recently acquired, is meanwhile busy with its own projects, for now at least. Another source told Bloomberg that management may see the project as unsustainable after the team spent more time and money creating the demo than they expected. KOTOR takes place during the High Republic, blah, 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 blah. I guess that's more information about the game. Yeah, definitely need that, because right now this is a very interesting, scenario. It's quite unfortunate for those who are fans of this universe, who are fans of the game, who are probably looking forward to it. It appears that Aspyr is probably going to just go ahead and continue to support the old game if they cancel this current project by itself. Now, a few things that we really have to consider, because one thing we try to look at in this channel is we come to the games in terms of the development perspective. And I guess this is another ringer, or I would say another big, huge reminder that any video game that we get, and this is just my opinion, is a work of art and a huge miracle if that game should ship. Many, many games fall into this trap where publishers do not want to go ahead and put more money in the development of the game. In fact, for those of you who've been following very closely, some of you remember that somewhere there was a Superman game that was being developed in 2007, 2008, and that game seemed like its development was going along fine. There was no problems, except we just had out of nowhere a financial downturn across the world, and no publisher would touch that particular game, even though the developers already had something, that they felt was substantial. Now, here are my thoughts regarding what is substantial and what a publisher deems as substantial. As someone who's been researching, what it takes to actually bring a game to market, one very critical thing that everybody needs to know is the relationship between developer and publisher is actually a very, very tricky one. And this is why studios usually find their best to find a publisher that they can actually stay under, so that they can have some assurances and they can work together with those particular, publishers in terms of trying to get a game to market regardless of, some of the conditions. That's why you see sometimes a publisher would make a lot of, they will dictate a lot of things like, no, we don't want this game, or they will give maybe minimal options like, we want you to make a game with these parameters, and then those developers go ahead and start doing things like that. We saw this in the situation with Gotham Knights. We saw this in the situation with, Rocksteady bringing forward a Suicide Squad game to market, even after Warner Brothers Games Montreal already had their Suicide Squad game canceled and are now bringing Gotham Knights to the table. So in my opinion, I feel like what's gone on and what's happened in this scenario with this particular game getting this cancellation or this particular report is that fact that, things are probably in that position where the publisher probably gave the developers a mandate and said, hey, we want this game out in 2022. Now, I feel like the development team probably could have just said, if you're not wanting it to come out in like 2025 or you can't follow through, then we're not going to go ahead and make it. Or maybe they said, hey, okay, maybe they had some, benchmarks or some, places that they had to get to before a specific time. And it didn't seem like the publisher was too pleased with what they were able to present. Hence, what we've seen now is this game is going to probably go into development oblivion, where we'll probably never hear about it again, or maybe somebody might take up the project and try to do something with it. But this is just the report so far. Jason Schreier just broke the news, and I wanted to go ahead and share it with you guys here in the community. Thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate your time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk soon. And hopefully we'll get our Jedi Survivor game without any issues. Respawn has delivered already, so I'm quite confident that they're probably gunning for this second game anyways. And those of us looking forward to it, hopefully we'll get this game very soon. And I guess we can continue to talk about that later on. All right, peace out.